Hi, I'm Chris Thomas here in the Martin Museum with singer-songwriter and acoustic musician, Andrew Gregory. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris.
So how long have you been playing guitar?
I started playing the guitar kind of late in life for an acoustic guitar player. I feel like most kids get started when they're 11 or 12 or 13 just to make their parents mad, just to be as loud as possible in the most acceptable way possible. But I didn't start playing guitar till I was 20 or 21. And I was in college and I wanted to make my roommate as mad as possible in the most acceptable way.
Excellent. Have you always written songs for as long as you've played?
Pretty much within a week or two of starting to pick up a guitar and like picking out those first couple 3 or 4 chords, like the G and the A and the D and the C, I started putting them together into little songs.
Great. So. Great. And one of the projects that you work with is with your brothers, the Gregory brothers?
Yeah, for 3 or 4 years now I played in a band with my 2 brothers, Evan and Michael, and my sister-in-law, Sarah. It's called the Gregory Brothers, and we started out as sort of like almost like a soul band. I was playing an acoustic guitar, and sometimes I'd play an electric guitar, and there were drums and keyboards and bass. But over the last 2 or 3 years, we've also started making this video series online called Auto-Tune the News that has sort of become sort of a crazy thing on YouTube. A lot of people watch it, and it's sort of become our main thing is day in and day out. We're just working on making these videos where we make people who are talking sound like they're singing.
Excellent. How does the songwriting process work with a group of musicians that are that close, family members?
The funny thing about it is we were sitting down last week and we were having a meeting with a guy who wanted to talk to us about our songwriting, and we realized that none of us had ever written a song, like none of our songs had ever been written, all 4 of us, but that we'd sort of like match up into different teams and write different kinds of songs. It's like I would match up with Sarah and sort of write like a sort of like country soul song, but then Sarah would match up with Evan and write sort of like a straight up blues sort of soul song, but then like Michael and I would pair up and write these sort of like little like acoustic pop songs. So we'd all written together, but never in a larger group than 2 or 3.
Have you noticed, since you started Auto-Tune the News projects, how it has affected your other studio stuff, your other recordings?
Yeah, sure. It's been, it's been a wild process. I mean, we have all these different musical projects, and we sort of see, as we get more and more fans for Auto-Tune the News, you understand that the average fan who wants to watch like Katie Couric singing the news to like a hot auto-tune jam might not get into like a really sort of like acoustic folky country song that's on my album. But like that 1% of fans keeps getting larger and larger as our bigger fanship grows. So it really has been a change. When I play out of town, when I play in New York City, to see more people getting turned on the music is great.
Excellent. And as far as the Gregory Brothers project, the acoustic stuff, are you working on anything that we could be watching for?
The main thing that I have coming out is a record that'll hopefully come out this summer or in the fall. That's a whole album based on the Song of Songs, and I wrote it all, but my sister-in-law Sarah sings on it, and my brother Evan plays the drums on it.
Oh, cool. Great. We'll watch for that. And finally, you're here today to pick up your custom Martin guitar.
Yeah, I am. It's an M21.
An M21. Is there anything about that guitar? I mean, basically the M size that is appealing to you more so than a Dreadnought or a...
No, yeah, and for years I've been playing the first Martin I had. I probably bought, I guess, about 8 years ago now, in 2003, and it's a DC-16. It's a really nice guitar. I bought it in Roanoke. There's a really nice guitar store, the Fret Mill there in Roanoke. But more and more, I started to wonder why sort of a man of my stature was playing this huge Dreadnought. Like my arm is like, barely making it over the side, and it's sort of like pulling me over forward on stage as you're playing like show after show. And I just, as I started to play more and more Martins and sort of wrap my head a little bit more around what scope and size and variety you guys had, I realized that a lot of the small bodies could really put out the same volume and just be just be a better guitar for me. So I went around, I looked at all sorts of small body guitars and found the M21. I don't know if I ever would have found the guitar, except I live in New York City and walked into Matt Umanov's guitar. And as I understand it, Matt Umanov is one of the co-designers
That's right.
of the M21.
That's right.
And And like I said, at every other guitar store I went to in New York City, I'd say, hey, do you have an M21? I want to check out the M21. And they'd say, that is not a model that exists. That we've never heard of it. But at Matt Umanov's, they recommended that guitar to me, and I just loved it. And strangely enough, I was in there 2 or 3 weeks ago buying a pickup that I think you guys are installing right now in that M21. Yeah. Who was sitting right there in Matt Umanov's, but Steve Earle and Matt Umanov.
How about that? Yeah. Huh. Amazing. Well, thanks so much for coming by to talk to us today, Andrew.
Thanks so much for having me.
Sure. Take care.